how they all feel about taxes, like what taxes they would raise or lower or change or whatever, like just the general concept.
Thank you. Okay. Gina, do you want to start again? I'm sorry, I don't know the proper protocol, but I think we're casual, so go ahead.
Sure. I mean, I believe that everyone should pay their fair share in taxes. Sorry. I think it's clear that I'm not. This is all very new to me, so sorry if I stumble over my words. But everyone should pay their fair share in taxes, and the top 1% of Rhode Island make a minimum of $460,000 a year, and they're not paying what they should be paying like the rest of us. And organizations like Brown University need to be paying their fair share as well.
Thank you.
So we have a progressive tax structure for a reason, right? Like, we need to make sure that those who are more fortunate are contributing and helping others. And I think that's important and a fundamental way to make not only our city and state work better, but our democracy work better. So that's a key part of what we need to do to raise revenue in the state to support so many of the programs that we've talked about that we want to do to make everyday Rhode Islanders' lives better. The other thing I'll say, though, is that there's other ways in which the state can be making a difference on some things that I think will end up generating much more revenue and boosting our economy. So I'll just give you an example. Childcare has come up a few times. People work in private companies, right? They get these flexible spending accounts for medical expenses, but also for caregiving. And they're able to use their pre-tax dollars in order to do that. Well, why can't everybody do that? Shouldn't matter what company you work for, we should be able to use the pre-tax dollars. Now, will that take a little bit out of the state coffers immediately? Sure, but longer term, in terms of, generating more employment, more education, more jobs for other people, I have not done the full calculus, but I believe that that's going to be much better for our economy. So I think there are tweaks we can make where we're not raising taxes, we're actually giving people a boost. The other thing I'll say is the earned income tax credit is one of the biggest sources of income redistribution in this country, and we need to be making changes at the state level too. Thank you. Sam?
Okay. I'll just say as a side note that I'm sorry we have to end at 2 questions. I was actually thinking 4 questions was a nice number, but we don't have the time.
Wrong holiday.
As far as tax policy goes, I think that you've heard, as the Democratic Party, we believe in these general principles that we need to raise money through taxes to fund the government, and that it should be done so that everybody pays their fair share. And I think there's consensus around that. As it happens, right now, Rhode Island's running a surplus in its budget. And it has $1 billion of unused money sitting in a bank account from the American Rescue Plan Act. So there's an argument that this is not a time where it's necessary to talk about increasing taxes to support the state. But with that said, when that time comes, then yes, we should consider doing it in a progressive manner. I will put one tiny little thing on the table that I've run into as an attorney, which annoys the heck out of many of my clients, and I'd love to see addressed, which is the corporate income tax in the United States. You pay that tax on your income. Rhode Island has a corporate tax where the minimum tax is $400, even if you don't have any income, even if you lose money. And I have represented a number of companies that have tried to close up their operations and have been out of business for several years. And then the Division of Taxation comes and says, well, if you want to close your operation officially, you have to pay us 5 years of back taxes for the years you were closed. So I would say that I don't think that that would make an enormous dent in the state's revenues, but I don't see the reason why we have to charge a minimum corporate tax when the United States doesn't.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I love your question, and it's an issue dear to my heart as a member of the board of directors of the Economic Progress Institute. So I got to plug revenue4ri.org, which is a campaign that we have worked on, and Brett Jacob would collaborate with the campaign members on tax reform. I could go on, but I guess I better not. Thanks.
Thank you.
So as a Republican, I'm generally opposed to all taxes. Taxes were necessary. I mean, part of my reasoning personally is that once the government institutes a tax, taxes are very rarely repealed, right? It just becomes this continuing thing. So when you decide to impose a new tax, it should be for a very discrete, very concrete, very thoroughly understood purpose, right? And not a, well, you know, we need to address this problem for the next decade, so let's institute a new tax. Because then it just continues to fill the coffers and everybody goes, well, we just got this big pool of money, we'll go in and dip them, you know. And so from my perspective as a proponent of limited government, I think you need to minimize the revenue collection. And generally, you know, not favorable to new taxes, and in favor of reducing the existing taxes, especially on property.
Thank you.
The state of Rhode Island's budget's too big. The General Assembly has a staff of 260 people. The state of Massachusetts General Assembly has a staff of about 70. You see all that waste? We have a nuclear reactor, $17 million, 70 years old. Eisenhower, Republican, gave every state one. 49 are gone. Ours is still there. 17 million. Do the math. Over a 70-year period. There is so much garbage that you pay for. Now let's come to the big thing. I just watched the Democrats be moderates again. You know, everybody thinks that they're all lefties. So I've got my retirement out at Fidelity, and I have a little bit of money. I pay no taxes on it. I don't make much money now that comes through the door on an annual basis, and that's what I pay the taxes on. So the rich have millions and billions and made 18 and 20% interest last year that they pay no taxes on. So this whole conversation is a little screwed. How can you be worth $20 million that you pay no taxes on, and the $460,000 that came in, you pay some taxes on? We need to sit down and talk about spending $3.5 trillion on Afghanistan, while our public schools and sidewalks, every 10th house in this city needs a new sidewalk. And we just spent all that money on a failed endeavor. So, again, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not very good at it, okay? I'm not going to the General Assembly to work on taxes. I'm not. But we need to look in a broader sense when talking about taxes. We really do. Let me make this last little comment. We, even in city government, we've been tricked, Sam. I've never seen a surplus. How can you have a surplus when 10 people that I've visited near your house don't have sidewalks? The trees have pushed their sidewalks up 20 years ago. You cannot have a surplus in a city where the doors are rusted at Hope High School. There is no surplus. That's a technical discussion. So, am I in favor of higher taxes? Probably not. Am I in favor of looking how we spend our money? Yes, I am. Thank you.